Impossibly Glamorous Studios presents Tea with Charles, starring Charles St. Anthony.
Here at Tea with Charles, I serve up all the scalding hot topics in current events and entertainment, and I am your host, Charles St. Anthony. This episode, we have a special guest. He's part of the indie group Nortic Eel, and also hosts an open mic in Santa Monica every Friday. Here to have tea with Charles is Alberto Suarez.
Hey, what's up, Charles?
How you doing, Alberto?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for stopping by to have tea with Charles. So I want everybody to get the name of your group, your indie music group, right. It's Nortic with
Right. So it's Nortic.
Yeah, so Nortic with a T, not Nordic like the gruesome Swedish cult that pushes people off the cliff.
Right.
And how would you describe the genre of the music you make?
So it's been described as alternative space pop. It's basically synth rock.
Okay.
I've described it as music for nerds that smoke a lot of pot.
Ooh, I like it. No, I do like Nortic Eel. Which of the streaming services are you on?
We're on Bandcamp. We have a Facebook page, a YouTube page.
Okay.
I believe we have one or two tracks on SoundCloud, but Bandcamp, if you just type in NordicEel.com, you'll
Okay.
get Bandcamp.
So definitely want you to go on Bandcamp and check out Nortic Eel. It's incredibly inappropriate to do before you finish the Tea with Charles podcast. So after you finish the podcast, go check out.
We'll remind you again.
We'll remind you again at the end of the studio.
Cool.
All right, Alberto, are you ready to get into it? Spill some tea?
Let's get that tea.
Pour yourself some tea and let's dive into these hot topics.
First hot topic for the week is Face App. What a time to be alive. It's number one on the app stores. Yeah, if you checked your social media and suddenly seen all your friends as old or female or the opposite gender, they are probably using Face App. And it's a pretty well done app. However, it is made by the Russians.
Ooh.
So I want to...
You don't like them, right?
I personally enjoy the Russians. I have some very good Russian friends, but...
As do I.
We do not want Russian hackers. I personally don't believe that Russian hackers are running this because if it's number one at the Google Play Store, somebody has probably checked into it at Google.
Right. It's pretty official. I gotta say, it does feel a little weird when I think about the proposition of entering my face into some database that is in Russia, I think.
That's a good point to make, but I haven't seen any actual news outlets talking about this. I've only seen it on tabloids. However, I love you and my listeners so much. I'm going to take one for the team. If the Russians want to hack into my phone and take my 40-year-old dick pics that I'm sending out on Grindr, I've got something for you, Nikolai and Dmitry. So let's have a look here. All right.
Okay.
So here, send me your picture, Alberto.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. Sending it over.
All right.
All right. So let's look at the female picture first. Bam! Oh, Albertina.
Right.
She's a hot mama. So we're going to post these Face App pictures, should you choose to have a look, on the Tea with Charles Facebook page. The first picture of Albert as a woman, you're a hot mama.
Thank you.
Ouch, mamacita.
Wow, I had no idea.
What would your name be?
Very confusing.
As a female?
I guess Alberta.
Alberta, that's a good one. You look like you look like you would use some Sharpie for your eyebrows there.
Yeah, I got some pretty serious makeup going on there. I feel like even a little lip amplification.
All right, let's try out a few other photos. Here we got Albert as an old man.
All right, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Does it look like someone actually you're related to?
That's just my grandfather. That's just a picture of my grandfather.
All right, I'm going to do mine as a woman now.
All right.
Oh. What do you think that looks like, Alberto?
That looks like a third grade teacher who just got her 9-month AA chip.
Yeah, she looks like a substitute teacher. Her name's Cassandra, and my name's Cassandra, and I'm an alcoholic. But good for Cassandra. Whoa! Oh, me as an old man.
Distinguished gentleman right there.
Yeah, I look like old man in the sea. It's a fun app, but like we said, we don't want the Russian hackers to hack into your dick pics. So.
No. But thank you for taking one for the team.
I took one for the team. This is Service with a Smile, Tea with Charles podcast.
There you go.
They just can't handle it.
So you realize, Alberto, that we're wrapping up a decade.
Yeah, I guess we are, huh?
end of the 2010s. Does this decade even have a name?
The teens?
The tennies?
The O-teens? The tennies, okay.
The tennies. Because the 1910s...
The pre-20s.
I don't think they talked about decades 100 years ago when it was 1910s, because that's just World War I.
Right.
Really. And then we talk about them again in the 1920s. That was the Roaring 20s.
Roaring 20s. I'm ready for a revamping of the Roaring 20s.
I mean, the Roaring 20s sounded like great fun until... the Great Depression. That wasn't very fun.
That
put a damper.
Yeah.
That's a damper on your party.
Yeah.
I've got a few suggestions. We could be the Money 20s.
Ooh, okay, the Money 20s. Yep.
Or maybe it's the Funny 20s.
The Funny 20s.
Because things have been quite serious here in the United States these past couple decades. I think it's time for fun again.
That'd be great if the 20s were a lot funnier than this decade.
Well, every new decade, we have sort of a changing of the guard. So I've noticed there's certain casting decisions going on here in Hollywood. I think we're going to see some big new stars, new faces. For example, we talked last week about Midsummer with Catherine Pugh, I think her name. Oh,
Florence.
Florence Pugh.
Yeah.
Florence Catherine, almost. Florence Pugh. She's not only in Midsummer, but she's going to be in the new Black Widow movie.
Which I'm psyched for.
Psyched for.
Fan.
We've got the new Elvis pick coming out with Austin Butler. Austin Butler, he is Tex Watson in the Tarantino pick coming out this week.
Okay. All right.
So
some new kids on the block.
New kids on the block. I just looked at Austin Butler's IMDb and it was like amazing. He's in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the Tarantino pick.
The hair's great.
He's in the Jim Jarmusch zombie pick, The Dead Don't Die. He was in Zoe 101, The Carrie Diaries. And you know what else? He's really jealous of my career. I know Austin Butler, after the Austin Butler Elvis movie, he's coming for the Tea with Charles podcast. And I'm going to be like, Austin, no, this is my podcast. I'll make the Tea with Austin podcast. I'll produce it for you for a couple million, but sorry.
Yeah, would you have him as a guest?
I would, of course. I have everyone as a guest.
You have me as a guest, so I feel like the bar's pretty low.
Oh, no. Alberto, you're awesome. We have, in addition to these new faces coming up in Hollywood, I feel like it's a new era of representation. The 2020s.
Sure. Yep.
It's going to be about representation. We have Lashana Lynch, who's going to be the black female 007.
I'm here for that. Yep. Yeah.
So 007 is not suddenly having a gender transformation. He's hanging up his hat. He's retiring, and Lashana Lynch, African, I guess she's a British black woman, is going to be the new 007.
Were people mad that Idris Elba was going to be 007? And they're like, it's got to be a white British dude or something. I don't know.
I think
but
that
now we've gone full circle.
Idris Elba, I think he was a contender for the new crown, but
he didn't want it.
I don't think he wanted it that much. He didn't want it that bad. And in addition to that, we have Little Mermaid with Halle Bailey. That's not Halle Berry. It's Halle Bailey.
Halle Bailey.
Who is in Beyonce's... She's one of Beyonce's proteges.
Gotcha.
And she's adorable, and she's going to be a great little mermaid. And we have Natalie Portman as Thor.
Oh, that's right.
Which I know the fanboys are going crazy for.
Yeah, I'm pretty...
And also we have a new biopic of Steve Buscemi coming out. And guess who's going to play Steve?
His son?
Scarlett Johansson. No, I'm kidding. There's not a Steve Buscemi movie coming out, but, Scarlett Johansson, she's...
I totally was buying that. I was like, all right, yeah, Steve Buscemi biopic. That makes sense.
No, she's not in the Steve Buscemi biopic. She's going to be in the new movie where she plays the Princess of Zimbabwe. Just kidding.
I don't know. I feel like that might be miscast.
It might be miscast, yeah. Actually, I'm just joking. She's not going to play a princess. She's not going to be Steve Buscemi. But can you imagine being Scarlett Johansson's publicist right about now? Because Scarlett, it's like, it's okay, we get it. It's acting. It's pretending.
Right.
But she keeps stepping in this PR dog shit.
Yeah. As a straight man who's had a Scarlett Johansson crush for a while, I forgive her.
We forgive her. She gets a pass.
Yeah, she gets a bit of a pass.
Yeah. I still love Scarlett. She's been in some of my favorite movies of all time.
Love Scarlett.
She's beautiful, but her publicist must be pulling their hair out right now.
Yeah, the publicist is earning their fee. Yeah.
That's enough of the casting news for right now. Have you been watching the new Stranger Things?
So I have not had the time I would like to get some. I saw the first episode. I watched the first couple seasons. I think I watched the first season a few times, the second season, and I watched the first episode of the third season, and I loved it.
Stranger Things is probably the hottest thing on Netflix right now. I just wonder why Ella hasn't learned to speak English yet. You'd think she'd know after a few years.
Right, yeah. What I loved about it is that at the start of season 3, they're just like back to being kids.
Yeah.
Just like,
they're back to being kids.
They didn't have any important life-changing traumatic events.
And every single kid in that TV series is now in their awkward stage.
Right. Yes.
We're talking about decades and changing of the guard and whatnot. Stranger Things is set in the 80s. Do you remember the 80s?
No,
How old were you then?
I can't say. I was born in 86.
Okay.
And also, I was in Ecuador.
Ecuador?
I was in Ecuador during the 80s.
You were born in Ecuador?
I was born in Ecuador, and I didn't move to the States till 91.
Oh, right.
So a lot of what I know about the 80s comes from movies from back in the day, or like these nostalgic kind of, look backs.
I get it. Because I was born in 77. So I had to learn all of disco and all that the second time around. It's like, I heard about Blondie and Debbie Harry because they had a 90s resurgence.
Right. Yeah, there's like music from the 80s and I'm just learning about now. And, but also the other thing, if we're talking about style-wise, I just think hair.
Hair.
I just think just an excess, just so much hair.
People were serving hair in the 80s.
Yeah.
It didn't have to look good. It didn't have to be styled right. It just needed to be big and have a lot of hairspray.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of the stylistic stuff kind of bled into the 90s a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, decades changed because humans arbitrarily kind of place, all right, this is different now.
Right.
But 89 and 90, it was kind of the same. Mm-hmm. There was promotional arcs that went on from the late 80s to the 90s. So,
Yeah. You still had NBA basketball players wearing the short shorts into the 90s. I feel like that was in the 80s.
I do like that Stranger Things, they've got a lot of great nostalgia there. There's a lot of extremely liberal use of scrunchies in the hair. You got the soundtrack. And I
went for it.
I hate when they beat you over the head with nostalgia. Back in the 80s, every time you turned on the radio, it wasn't just Culture Club and Madonna.
Right. Yeah.
There was a great variety of things going on at the time.
We might misremember the 80s a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we were kids then.
As a culture, we look back and we think, Culture Club and, all that kind of mod kind of stuff, I guess you could call it. But there was punk rock was coming, it was still there.
It was still there.
Some underground stuff that we don't really think about.
The stuff we remember now from the 80s was the stuff with staying power. Because I remember growing up then, and there was a lot of crap on the radio, too. Just like there's a lot of crap nowadays. But we'll get 20 years from now, and 2 or 3 big names and songs will still be remembered from this time.
Right.
Who do you think is going to be remembered from 2019, 20 years from now?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty big on Billie Eilish, on that whole thing. She kind of blew up.
Right.
I made some playlists with some of her first tracks on there, so I like to claim that I discovered her.
Oh, you were first there.
I was first there.
She's passé now. I knew her when she was before she was big.
It's old news. No, but she's great. I mean, that'd be cool to see her still in the in the zeitgeist, if you will. But I figure all
right, who's going to be playing Vegas in 2040? Who's going to be...
Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Going to be touring together. No, Vegas residency, right?
Vegas residency. Probably Ariana Grande.
Sure.
She'll still be... She'll be in her 40s, early 50s by then. Can you think of that? Oh, my God.
It's curious to me, some of these stars, they could just retire, and other ones, they can't. They don't stop. They're just you have enough money, you can just chill at home if you wanted to, but they can't stop. Touring and playing, you know what I mean? The Rolling Stones were still touring as of not long ago. It's don't you just want to chill at home? I don't know.
I'm not going to just chill at home when I'm old. I'm not going down without a fight.
Other stuff. Okay, no, I
have to
say what you do. Keep doing what you stop.
I'm going to die with this microphone in my hand. God damn it. Do you believe in aliens?
Aliens, I believe in, yes.
Yes?
Yes, I'm a firm believer.
Because we have coming up here the group of people going to Roswell, New Mexico.
Yes. And see some aliens.
Yeah, so if you don't know, on Facebook there is a group called Roswell, See Them Aliens.
See them aliens.
I looked at an article from The Independent and it said over 600,000 people have signed up to an event to storm Area 51, the top secret U.S. military base in the Nevada desert, or Nevada, in a quest to see them aliens.
See them aliens. I mean, I think it's time, if they're there.
If they're there, I think the U.S. government has moved them by now.
They probably have contingency.
Now that there's a group on Facebook to see them,
Yeah.
they're in Maryland or something.
Yeah.
They're not in Nevada anymore.
No.
Or
No.
New Mexico, I guess.
They just shipped them to the secret moon base.
I don't know. I've always wanted to go to Roswell, though.
Yeah, well, the thing was they had some guy tried to sneak in there, and I think they shot him. It's trying to break into top secret government military facilities. Like, not a great idea, not like the best idea.
But if 600,000 people show up, as long as you hide in the back,
right,
you could probably get in.
They were talking about the Naruto runners and
What's a Naruto runner?
So Naruto, the manga,
a Japanese comic book.
Japanese comic book. Yeah, there's they run for whatever reason with their hands behind their backs, and I don't know. It's just a funny.
So the machine guns won't hurt them.
I think the idea
is the idea.
That's how you run really, really superhuman fast.
All right, I'm gonna put this out there right now. Tea with Charles does not endorse Naruto running to see some aliens in Roswell. It's not gonna work out best for you.
Probably not.
So, Alberto, have you ever thought of a life working in religious service?
I can't say I've ever seriously considered that, although my Catholic mom has on many occasions, Alberto, don't you want to be a priest?
Really?
Yeah, she really wants me to be a priest.
And she's Catholic from Ecuador, correct?
Yeah, she's Latin American, very Catholic.
Very Catholic.
Yeah.
I have to say, I'm not super religious, even though my grandma made me go to vacation Bible school at the Baptist Church in Missouri.
Oh, wow.
But
yeah, but
I have to say, I've never seriously wanted to be a church for religious service. I have just wanted to work there because it looks really chill. It doesn't look like they're working that hard.
No, you just work a couple days a week.
You pass the basket around.
Yeah, you say some stuff. Kiss some babies.
Kiss some babies. Make sure the wafers are out.
Yeah. You press your robe.
Well, there's an article in the Huffington Post that says millennials are becoming nuns.
Are they?
Yes.
This is news to me.
All right, let me read this for you. Okay. A journalist for the Huffington Post writes in an article, "Behold, the Millennial Nuns." You get the sense that these young women get a kick out of demonstrating their enduring link to basic bitch concerns like food Instagramming, college sports, or Benedict Cumberbatch's facial hair. And then pulling a fast one on the rest of us with flinty tweets like, "You die unprepared without the sacraments."
Oh my God.
That is intense. There's some numbers in this article too. It says in 1965, there used to be 180,000 nuns. In 2010, there's less than 50,000, which means they're hiring. They're hiring. It's easier to become a nun than become a postmate, basically.
They should just remake The Sound of Music.
Oh, that would be hot. I have to say,
get another sister act going.
It says these nuns,
publicity.
These millennial nuns, though, I'll be honest, I could apply to be a nun, but there would be like lightning striking me down from the heavens.
The holy water would spill. It burns.
It burns. It burns. Your mother sucks cocks in hell. It's from The Exorcist.
Yeah, I got that one. The Exorcist.
I wasn't telling that to you, Alberto.
No, I got the reference.
You got the reference. It's interesting.
I mean, yeah,
I think people want something to believe in and something to hold on to.
Yeah, nothing wrong with a little spirituality, and
you do have to live the right lifestyle, though.
Yeah, you have to be called to it.
You can't be an Instagram thought and then become a nun.
I mean,
can you become You can't be getting none if you've had sex, correct?
That I don't think that's anywhere in the. I don't know. I can't say I know the rules, but I will say, as you know, growing up in that religion, that there's many stories. Particularly, there's stories about saints,
right,
who in their youths were wayward and were immoral. And they came to some epiphany, and that was when they like devoted their life to God and changed their ways. And
they had that come to Jesus moment.
Exactly. So maybe that has something.
I have that like every other day.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Jesus, take the wheel. God, buying Oreos again. I don't know what to do. However, I do applaud, if that's the thing for you, go for it, guys.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, though, it's probably not a good time to be a nun if you've been Snapchatting people your pussy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that might come back to
That might come back to haunt you.
Yeah.
Sister Mary Margaret's not going to like that.
Probably just stay off social media altogether.
You would probably get fired, like the woman on our next story.
Oh.
Yes. So there was a Dairy Queen. This is from USA Today. Dairy Queen worker fired for confusing Moana with marijuana.
Wait, what?
So there was a woman who made a birthday cake.
Mm-hmm.
And it was iced with white and green frosting and printed with a marijuana leaf and My Little Pony style horse that had bloodshot eyes.
Wow, that sounds like a cake that me and my friends would specifically
ask for. I'm going to bring you that at the open mic next week.
Bring me one of those. You're going to bring me a Moana. They're like, oh, we messed up. We made a Moana one by accident.
Okay. But that'll get you. I think this is from this is from the Midwest somewhere.
There was not marijuana actually in it?
It was not an edible, no.
Oh, okay.
But this will get you fired, I guess. Have you ever been fired by a job?
Yes, I have. I think there was a couple instances where I quit before they could fire me. I preempted it, but I did work at a movie theater one time, which was a pretty boring job.
Right.
Especially if you were, a lot of it involves just standing around. So I during my lunch hour, I'd go hit up the happy hour down the street, and so I came back one time and me and a buddy had been drinking the vodka.
Right.
And I think maybe we just forgotten our breath mints. And the manager, she caught on to that, and we got brought into the office and got reminded that you can't actually be drunk on the job. That's frowned upon.
Oh, so you got fired from the movie theater.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry to hear that. But working at a movie theater must be really juicy, though. It sounds like it would be really easy and fun. Like,
it's very easy.
Not quite as easy as working at a church, but...
Right. No, it's very easy, and there's a lot of downtime, and there's a lot of young people, so it does get very high school.
Really?
Yeah, and there's people, there's a lot of places to, like, if you start dating one of your coworkers, you duck into one of the theaters or just make out. I mean, nothing too crazy. You're giving me this look like, what were you doing at this point?
No, I'm trying to think, because, like, my image of a movie theater is you, like, go up into this room upstairs and there's like this old-timey projection thing with the movie reels and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's not how it is anymore, is it? Like,
no, it's all digital now.
You just press a couple buttons. Like you plug in an iPhone and press play, right?
I was actually there when they transferred over. They're like, guys, we're getting all these, because at some point they had the projectors so you could screen films, and they had the digital, and they're like, oh, we're getting rid of the film stuff. It's just all digital. But you just plug in a hard drive and
that's cool. Yeah. So it's not like a USB card. It's a little hard drive, and
it's a hard drive. Yeah, the distributors, whoever, they send over a hard drive that has like a code, and it's like a whole thing. But it's great for the projectionists because these old reels were like these giant, heavy, like things that you had to carry around, and you had to splice them together, and it was like a lot. It was very labor intensive. But now you just plug in the hard drive and.
Oh man, that sounds sweet. But you got fired. Damn.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty sweet job, but you can only really pop so much popcorn.
You can only show up drunk to work so many times.
Kid, would you like help cheer your seat, sir?
Have your popcorn.
I put a lot of butter on it.
I got some M&Ms for you.
And now for some news that's truly important.
Alberto, have you been following the whole story with A$AP Rocky?
A little bit, yeah. I saw the video the altercation that occurred.
All right, you need to help Generation X out here. What is the ASAP thing?
Right. This is funny. So I actually had a friend say, I was playing some music and they're like, oh, what is this? And I was like, oh, it's ASAP Ferg. And they're like, oh, like, is that like ASAP Rocky? And I was like, yeah, kind of. And they're like, well, I don't understand. Like, why doesn't he just get an original name? Why are all these people using the same name? I was like, no, well, what it is...
It's the ASAP Mob, right?
ASAP Mob, right. It's a collective. It's like a band. It's like saying, Wu-Tang. It's like...
Like back in the day, they had Murder Inc. and whatnot.
Right, yeah, they're a group. They're a musical group.
Like a group of loosely associated rap and hip-hop acts,
right,
correct?
Yeah, they're under the same umbrella. They fucks with each other like that.
Right. So the Rocky, ASAP Rocky, he goes to Sweden.
Yeah.
And he's in an altercation. Did you check the video on this?
Yeah, I caught a little bit of that. Mm-hmm. It was, it didn't seem too crazy except for that these guys just wouldn't leave ASAP and his boys like alone.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the video, a couple, I guess, Middle Eastern guys that are refugees in Sweden or something are following ASAP Rocky around and kind of harassing him until ASAP Rocky's bodyguards just had enough and he tosses the kid.
Right.
And ASAP Rocky's been in jail since then, and Donald Trump has even gotten involved. Like Kanye West and Kim Kardashian called Donald Trump and they're like, help ASAP Rocky.
What?
And Sweden's like, we don't think so.
Right. Sweden don't play that.
Sweden don't play that. So we've got all kinds of people on both sides of the coin. I know G-Eazy, the rapper, came out and he's like, I was arrested in Sweden too, and because he was having a little dance with Belinda Carlisle, wink, wink. No, G-Eazy was arrested for cocaine and assault in Sweden, and he got off pretty quickly.
Real charges, I guess.
And
doesn't Sweden have like nice jails and stuff?
I would imagine they're pretty nice until they push you off the cliff in Midsummer.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, still not a place you want to be, let's say that. I
would say that it's probably not very pleasant to be in jail in any foreign country.
Yeah, right. No, it was crazy because someone had brought that up and they were like, oh, you hear what happened to ASAP to Rocky? And I was like, oh, no, like I just saw him because I was at a late night diner over in Hollywood.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, this is juicy. Spill the tea.
Like 2 days before, or a few days before he went on his trip, I guess. Because, So this
is in like June of this year.
Mm-hmm. And
you're at a diner in Hollywood.
Yep.
ASAP Rocky comes in. How big's his entourage?
He just had like one of his security guard and like one of his other boys there. He was rolling small. It wasn't like a big, it was like late at night. There really wasn't that many people around.
Did he get the tater tots? I want to know what ASAP Rocky eats.
I don't know what he ordered. He hung out for a little while. He was cool with everyone that worked there. He seemed to be in very good spirits. He rolled up in like one of the prettiest Ferraris I've ever seen.
He didn't punch anybody?
He didn't. No, he was extremely friendly, very personable. Don't know what he ordered though.
You don't know what he ordered though. See, listeners, if you have the tea on if ASAP Rocky likes tater tots or not, I really need to hear. Email to the boss at dtlahustler.com. There's an article in New York Times, and this article just got me in my feelings for a second.
Okay.
Because the article, which was released about 3 weeks after I started my podcast, is, have we reached peak podcast? I mean, as somebody who has read the New York Times for a very long time, New York Times can kick rocks, basically.
Sure.
They're messing with me. They're messing with the Tea with Charles vibe.
Yeah, who cares what you guys think?
Well, I guess now that I'm here, it can be peaked, but...
Right, yeah, we're done. We did it.
We did it.
We did it.
And
we've reached peak podcast.
If you look up, have we reached peak podcast, you're going to be greeted by this hipster woman with a microphone.
Wow, look at her.
Okay. Yeah, she's kind of like she's like the podcast babe.
Wow. Okay.
She's like, my name is Madison. I have a podcast.
Yeah, she seems a bit just kind of ambivalent about the whole thing.
Yes.
Very nonchalant.
The smug podcast lady.
Smug, yeah.
Madison.
Yeah.
Well, she thinks she was peak podcast, but I really have to say...
I'll check the sources on that.
Check the sources on that. But I have to say, it's kind of funny because like I had started my podcast and 3 weeks later, the New York Times feels like they're dissing me. Not that I'm on their radar or anything.
No, yeah. You'd be lucky for them to diss you.
Yeah. Let's make it that happen. Let's make the New York Times.
Like you
whatever. This is just
controversial.
Fake news.
Yeah. Fake news.
But I quote some rando on Twitter when I say, Mahatma Gandhi once said, podcasts are like assholes. Everyone has one.
He did. He said that.
He did.
Yeah. I remember learning about that in school.
In school.
Yeah.
In La Escuela, as they said in Ecuador.
That's right.
How cheeky. The nerve of some people.
Alberto, thank you for joining me on the Tea with Charles podcast.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. This was great. I
had a lot of fun.
Day.
Yes.
Great.
Well, I definitely love to have you back again. But until then, where can all of my fabulous listeners find you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram and I'm on Twitter.
What's the handle?
It's Birdie Suar, so Birdy, Birdie, Suar, one word, Birdie Suar.
Birdie Suar.
Yeah, and I also have just started a new Instagram page for my poetry and articles and jokes and cartoons. I'm going to have my art on a separate one that's Bird Words. So bird with a U and words with a U.
Okay.
Bird Words.
If we wanted to see you in the flesh, where can we check you out?
So I host a very illustrious open mic. It's a coffee house open mic for musicians.
In Santa Monica.
In Santa Monica,
Ooh.
That's right. It's on Pico, 3301 Pico Boulevard, just west of Centinela. It's at a lovely little hippie coffee shop called the Unurban Coffee House.
And that's every Friday?
Every Friday.
From what time?
From 7 till 11.
7 to 11. And I understand Saturday, July 27th, you've got something special going on.
That's right. So on the last Saturday of every month, I hold an event at that same spot at the Unurban, and it's called the Ground Floor Song Singers Showcase.
All right. Music
and vibes. We have, generally, I will book artists that I meet at the open mic from the Friday open mics, and I'll book them on my Saturday. Yeah, so we have, singer-songwriters come through and play some music. Sometimes they get a band behind them. We have a comedian who will generally host and do some little short comedy sets. We have a resident live painter who will be painting in the corner as all of this is happening. And yeah, the places, they have organic coffee and all sorts of treats, and it's a free event last Saturday of every month, the Unurban Ground Floor.
All right, so check it out, 3301 Pico Boulevard in Santa Monica. That's the Unurban.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me, Alberto. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
All you listeners out there, you can find me on social media at King Charles 0921. That's at King Charles 0921. Make sure to subscribe to the Tea with Charles podcast on your favorite platform. If you have a message for the show, shoot me an email at theboss@dtlahustler.com. That's theboss@dtlahustler.com. Thank you for listening to the Tea with Charles podcast. Drive electric, kiss a baby, and keep on hustling.
Hey.
Bam.
That's all for now.